The reason why I like Jasmy better in 2026 as opposed to 2025, even though nothing I say is financial advice, is because of the Jasmy chain. Because, of course, recently the CFO of Jasmy announced how, when it comes to Jasmy chain, it did officially complete its mainnet sort of thing, basically, and how the mainnet is live. I'm a fan of this because I think this adds more layers when it comes to Jasmy, because for quite a while, everyone thought that Jasmy wasn't really doing anything, it was just kind of boring. But with something like this, I think it adds more substance to the project, right? Again, nothing I say is financial advice, but I just like it when a project adds more layers to it because I think if there's an altcoin season, this type of stuff does matter. Sometimes people take a look back at the track record. They take a look back at like the resume and stuff like that of a project. They see sometimes what's going on. So this is why I like what Jasmy is doing overall. Now, Jasmy Chain being a EVM compatible layer 2, and EVM, by the way, stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. Why I like that is because Ethereum, it's one of the most recognizable layer 1 blockchains out there. So having something like that, I think is pretty cool. And we have to think about it sometimes when it comes to a layer 2 for Ethereum in general. Not specifically talking about this, but sometimes when people like to tell me, oh, who cares about a layer 2 when it comes to Ethereum? Because after all, when it comes to Jasmy, and we take a look at the aspects of Jasmy Chain, Jasmy Chain, it's built on Arbitrum Orbit, right? Arbitrum is an Ethereum layer 2. And when it comes to layer 2, what it does is that it basically allows Ethereum to be enjoyed, but at the same time, not necessarily dealing with some of the nonsense that goes on when it comes to Ethereum. Like, for instance, the gas fees, which are kind of, relatively speaking, a lot, right? I'm not such a fan of that. And also, I take a look at the supposed scalability issues when it comes to Ethereum. It's not a perfect layer 1 blockchain. It's very popular, but it's not perfect, right? So layer 2, again, kind of allows that to be enjoyed, but at the same time, not necessarily having to deal with that type of nonsense. So yeah, just overall, when it comes to Jasmy, I like what they're doing, and I think this is arguably one of the biggest things they've done so far. So this is why I like actually 2026 better than 2025. It's off to a better start, I think, in terms of the fundamentals as opposed to last year. Now, granted, though, we saw moments of brilliance when it comes to Jasmy, and of course, at certain points, Jasmy in 2025 is way higher than where Jasmy is as of right now, but also at the same time, I haven't seen an altcoin season, so how can I fully evaluate the movie if I haven't even finished watching the movie? This is the way I take a look at it. Jasmy's still around 33 times lower than 25 cents, by the way. But do I mind? Well, for the purpose of dollar cost averaging, it's not something I'm going to mind. Actually, I'd be happier, hypothetically, if I was able to dollar cost average at around 33 times lower than a certain point, as opposed to being around 10 times lower. It may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but imagine if Jasmy, hypothetically, for whatever reason, is around 10 times lower than 25 cents. Still, I'm not going to complain about that, but I'd be happier if it was around 33 times lower, because if I can dollar cost average hypothetically into a project, right? And it's at a lower point, it's not going to be a complaint that I would have. But also, I feel like when it comes to this, it's more so of a waiting thing, sort of for me, because the market is going to do its thing with or without me, and I have no control over it. So if I know there's something I have no control over, if I know that it's going to do its thing with or without me, whatever direction it even wants to go in the first place, all I can do is stay patient. But I think this is sometimes also a little bit of a skill, right? Being patient sometimes, I feel like for me, is a skill that I have to practice and also learn to be good at. Because being patient sometimes is not that easy, personally for me. Because, I sometimes like things to happen pretty quickly. When it comes to, let's say, I buy something online or something, I order something off of Amazon, I like it if it's fast, right? But waiting, that's kind of the thing sometimes. But in this space, it's a little bit more amplified because it's not waiting for a week. We're waiting sometimes in the cases of years when it comes to this space. Because some other projects out there, they don't do anything for years. It's like, for instance, could you imagine the altcoin season in 2021? Some people held for many years before they saw anything. So who knows what's going to be the case this time around, but my perception is that I'm going to just wait. That's it. Nothing could happen. Who knows? But I just like to stay patient and just wait because I'm a little bit curious. This is my perspective. I don't have to be patient though. I don't have to wait, but I just voluntarily wanted to do so because I treat this more so of a marathon. For me, I dollar cost average once a month into my favorite projects, so that's kind of like the mindset that I have. So if we think about it, that's just like 12 times a year. It's not like so many, right? I'm just literally dollar cost averaging 12 times a year into the projects that I'm a fan of. That's it. And again, it's just once a month. But I have no control over what happens at that exact month. So I just like to wait it out. That's my perspective. Remember when Steve Jobs, the late great Steve Jobs, talked about something along the lines of like how something that's important when it comes to business is attrition? It's just like simply some other businesses out there, they just kind of outlast some other businesses. It's like, for instance, 10 businesses start off, right? But then two eventually make it beyond 5 or 10 years. The thing is, some businesses that went out of business or just simply didn't want to persevere, maybe they're better than the ones that kind of stuck around still. But then eventually, when there's a chance to get like a collaboration, when an enterprise wants to do something with this business within that specific space, the few that exist, sometimes they do get chosen. The ones that are seemingly better but didn't make it, they got left out. They basically missed out on the roller coaster. That's the way to take a look at it. But yeah, sometimes it is sort of a thing of attrition, right? This is the way to take a look at it. I'm just going to wait it out. That's my perspective. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, right? This is just my mindset, but I like to wait, I guess, just in case. This is kind of my vibe sometimes when it comes to things in life. I just like to wait it out. When it comes to Jasmy, though, I get it. It's not necessarily the most interesting project out there. I mean, it's focused on data storage. Like, a lot of my friends out there, they're not entering into this space because of that. But Jasmy doesn't even have that many competitors to begin with that are that famous. I mean, if we take a look at Filecoin, Arweave, Scicoin, we take a look at something like StoreJ, we're not talking about so many projects out there, right? That's like pretty much four other than Jasmy. So it's already kind of recognizable anyways. So if let's say there was a sentiment where it changed, where there was suddenly some attention when it comes to the space of data storage, Jasmy's literally right there. It's like literally the second most popular. So it's not like people have to randomly search for it, try to look at random places to find it. Like, no, Jasmy's arguably one of the most popular projects out there focused on data storage. It's been around for quite a long time. And also on top of that, it's just kind of popular overall. So in the grand scheme of things, it's already kind of there. Typically, when there's an altcoin season, individuals, sometimes they don't want to look around for a project, right? Sometimes they take a look at some place and then they see, oh wow, this project's kind of popular. That's kind of the vibe sometimes. But Jasmy's already been through that initial phase. I mean, keep in mind, Jasmy's a top 200 project as of right now. Like, we're not talking about a project that's like the 1,481st place. We're not talking about that. So it's already kind of recognizable. It's like, for instance, if I'm going shopping and I'm buying like a shirt or something like that, I'm looking at Uniqlo. I'm looking at H&M, right? Generally, when it comes to like a t-shirt or something like that, I'm going to go there, like Abercrombie, right? I'm going to go to the ones that are already kind of known. So it's just a little bit more for convenience. And when it comes to this space, sometimes I see it no different. And I've seen it time and time again when it comes to when there's an altcoin season. Sometimes people just gravitate towards a project that's already sort of popular. So yeah, that's the way to take a look at it. When it comes to Jasmy, I'm still waiting, still staying patient, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day.